Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another episode of Justice for All Now. I'm your host, Hannah Zubairi, and you're watching us on Muslim Network TV on Samsung Galaxy 19. You can watch the TV station, which is America's only Muslim-focused TV station, on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. So today I'm going to be talking about a topic that is very triggering. It is a topic that perhaps many of our viewers here in the United States and in Canada, Mexico may not be aware of, because this crime is sort of centralized, it's regional, and it's very gender-based. But more than the crime and the issue itself, what I wanted to highlight today is the wonderful work that is being done by our guest and by her foundation to highlight and change and affect positive change in the lives of women who've been affected by acid burn attacks. Masarrat Misbah is my guest today. She's Pakistan's first beauty expert who initiated the trend of professional beauty salons in the country. She's a beautician turned philanthropist who caters to women who are victims of acid attack violence. She has been working to restore their confidence and turn the lives of these women around. Masarrat Misbah started her work years ago to become a beautician, and currently she has over 76 salons in Pakistan. She is a true believer in sustainable development. And for her valuable contributions in various fields of life, Misbah has been a recipient of several prestigious awards. As the president of Depolex Smile Again Foundation, she's the first woman from Pakistan who has been awarded by the Italian government on Women's Day for her courage and commitment. Within Pakistan, for her untiring efforts as a beautician, entrepreneur, social worker, and philanthropist, she has received several exalted awards, including in April 2010, she was honored with the Presidential Award, the Pride of Performance. Currently, under the foundation, and we'll learn much more about the work of the foundation, how she's changed the notion of beauty around in Pakistan, and how her foundation is assisting 760 victims of not only acid attacks, but kerosene attacks, and as well as accidental attacks, cases of, for example, many times, for those of you who may not be aware, gas is frequently used in homes and to warm homes in Pakistan. Gas heaters are frequently used to that are individual units, and when those get left behind or accidents occur because of them, gas tanks are often used to cook in kitchens, and accidents can occur, and victims are often women in the family. So without any further ado, and another reason that I really wanted to focus on this particular issue is this has been this is something where we have seen practical steps being taken to reduce the amount of attacks, the reported cases. For example, the Acid Survivor Foundation in Pakistan has revealed that reported cases of acid attacks on women have dropped from around to around 50% compared to the last 5 years. Especially in 2016 and 2017, there were a total of 71 victims of acid attacks, whereas between 2018 and 19, there were 62 cases of acid throwing, 11 cases of burning, and 4 with multiple burns. So we're going to talk about this and much more with Sister Masarrat. And thank you so much for being on here. We really are looking forward to talking to you and learning from you. And just your work has been inspirational. You've changed the life of these women around. So tell me about that very first day that you met a young woman who seeks your help, and you called her, when you first saw her, a woman without a face.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to address and to talk to so many you know uh, people around. And this is one issue which actually touches not just my heart, but I think everyone's. Um, and like you said, that particular day when I met this girl who came to me because I've been in the field of beauty for the last 40 years now. So it's all about a woman's vanity, glamour, one pimple, lines and wrinkles, gray hair, whatnot. And this girl walks into my office as I was about to leave, and she says that, you claim to be a beautician and a makeup artist. Do something about my face. And when she unveiled herself, I was standing and I just sat down because there was no life left in my legs. I thought, I was just taken aback, shocked, surprised. And the only thing that I could ask was, what has happened to you? And she goes, that somebody has thrown acid on me. So it took me a little time to kind of regain my senses. And I said to her, I said, because in front of me was this girl who's lost one eye. There was actually no nose, and then her neck and chin were contractured. So she was very badly mutilated and disfigured. So I said, I can't do anything. I'll have to take you to the hospital. And I started calling my clients, my friends, people that I know are good doctors, and all of them were busy because it was 7:30 in the evening and they were doing their private practices. So I said, okay, fine. Tomorrow morning, then I'll take you. You come tomorrow. And she says, I don't have a place to stay. And I said, where have you come from? And she has come from a far-flung um area from south of Punjab, and she wanted me to make arrangements for her stay. And to be honest, at that time and at that, I really feel ashamed of myself now that I was actually afraid of the fact that what if the person who's thrown acid on her face is still following her? And what if something like this would happen to me? But I asked her to stay in my salon, made arrangements for her. And when I went back home, everything changed for me. Um, I prayed to God. I asked for His forgiveness, because it's not that I have not heard about such cases. It's not that I've not read in the newspapers or seen on the television, but it was always like, oh, that's very sad. And that's it. How come I didn't do anything earlier in my life for this? Maybe then I thought to myself, there's always a time for such things. Maybe Allah Ta'ala wants me to help them now. And while I was asking for His forgiveness, I was also saying, Shukr, Alhamdulillah, for all that He's already given me. I don't think that I deserve all those things that He has given me. Yesterday also, even today, because I haven't done anything. And now that He has given me this chance to help these women, I thought that there's so much life which has passed, and I don't know how much long I could live. So with this, I realized that we take things for granted.
Right.
We take everything for granted. The eyes, the lips, the hands, everything, and we never say Shukr Alhamdulillah. It's only when somebody says you're looking so nice, they say Ji Shukriya, thank you. But it's never Shukr Alhamdulillah, because that's a person who's our Allah, our Creator, has actually given us all this. So I started her treatment. I took her to the hospital, and then after 15, 20 days, I actually placed an ad in different newspapers, in Urdu and in English newspapers, saying that if you're acid or kerosene oil burnt victim, come to Deplex on such and such day. And I thought to myself that I can afford to maybe take 3 or 4 more girls
Mhm.
for their treatments. But on that particular day, I was in for such big shock. 42 girls walked in.
Wow.
42 girls from all over Pakistan. They were women, young children, young boys also, and women who've been burnt maybe 20 years back, or young girls who were just burnt only a month back.
Mhm.
And I said to Allah Ta'ala, I said, Allah, I wanted just 2 or 3. I can't do so many.
Mm.
But then I realized that Allah Ta'ala gives you only that much that you
Yeah,
can bear and hold on to.
exactly.
So I started in 2003, and in 2005 I got myself registered as a non-profit organization.
Mhm.
During all this time, in 2 years time, I asked help from all my friends, my clients, my family members were the best, because they just opened their hearts to help me with this. And with the passage of time, now it has been 18 years, and in 18 years time I've got more than 750 victims.
Mhm.
I've also started taking girls who've been burnt accidentally. Sometimes they tell us the story and it is an accident, but
Mhm.
it's later when they become close to us or they feel strength enough to tell us the truth, it's actually they were burnt intentionally.
Very intentional.
But in accidental cases also, and I realized that if the whole family is burnt because of a gas leak or maybe some other
Mhm.
reasons, the women don't get to the same kind of treatment, but the boys do.
Voice too.
Why? Because they think that women is a burden on them,
So,
and especially if there are many girls in the family. So they rather let her die, let her rot like a vegetable, than to spend money on her because she is of no use to them. She
this is
can't get married, she can't work, and then there's a taboo attached to her that if she goes um, to any events or weddings and all, people won't let her come near even the bride. They say no, no,
oh,
no. She's a upshugan. She's manus. She can't be near her because it will have bad effect on the
on the
newlywed couple or the
and this
especially
is
the
so
girl.
un-Islamic. Like just hearing those thoughts or those, not having belief in or having belief in anything else except for God's decisions or God's will is un-Islamic, right? And even this, the nature of this act is so horrifically un-Islamic. Like I can't even think of any other. So I really wanted you to explain to our audience the nature of this crime and why does it occur.
Okay, so there are like five main reasons.
Mhm.
Uh, Number one is always if a girl refuses to marry a boy, a man, an elderly person, then the ego is so badly hurt that they say that if you're not mine, then you can't be anybody else's.
Mm.
Even if they are in so much in love, that why don't they throw acid on themselves? Why it's
Mm.
only the woman who has to take the brunt of their love? So, so one reason is refusal of marriage. The second, or any such like people do want sometimes to make friends with, and if that girl refuses, they say, oh, you're refusing me, I
Mm.
am so and so, and how come I hear a no from a woman
Mm.
and a young woman? So that's one reason. Then the second reason is dowry. If
Mm.
they don't bring enough dowry, then there's always violence in the house. And sometimes it's not just the men who actually goes to the extent of throwing or burning this woman with kerosene. It's the whole family also, the mother-in-law, the sister-in-laws. And then the third is if a woman has given birth to a female child only, like if the fourth baby is a girl, then they say, well, you're no good, and they want them to leave. And if this girl says that it's not my fault, I can't, why would I leave? then they will find reasons and faults in her, and then it will culminate to a point where they would actually close the door, throw kerosene oil on her, and then they say that she has committed suicide.
Oh, sorry.
Then the fourth reason is inheritance. If a girl is getting even a small piece of land, they don't want that land to go to this girl, a woman, or a widow. They would rather kill her. And so they do these things with the intentions of maybe just getting rid of her. And if she survives, then of course it is a very, very difficult life for her. Then the fifth one is enmity. They find that the women in any family is the weakest link for their revenge. So if the children, if the girls are going to madrasas or schools, or if a girl is going to visit her family members, it's in between that rasta, this way that they would do something like this. Now, when I think about it, do you think that these are the reasons? This is not what my religion tells us. If a girl doesn't want to marry anybody, in Quran it says that girl has the right to say yes or no. If a husband divorces a woman because of whatever reason, the woman also has a right to take khula if she is not happy. Girl child, I mean, look at the life of our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, peace be upon him. He would get her from his place. He would let Hazrat Fatima Zahra come and sit where he is sitting, and kiss her on the forehead. This is the love, respect which a man is giving to a woman. Keep aside the relation. Yes, it's a fatherly love to a daughter, but look at who is doing and what he's doing. And then
he's doing it too.
Talk about and then talk about the dowry. How much did he give to Hazrat Fatima Zahra? I mean, if we, and then of course the inheritance. There's a whole ayah, surah uske andar hamare in our Quran, which so clearly mentions, this is what you get, this is what she gets, this is what the children get. So everything is right there. So these are the reasons which, as a Muslim, are so clear to us. But why do we not act on such, easy ways of not doing any act which culminates to such a thing? It's because it's not just the education that we are not educated. Yes, we are not educated. But then, where in my country is not a mosque? Where in any Muslim household, a mother or a father or a parent wouldn't like their children to complete Quran? I mean, they would do complete the Quran at an age of 5 and 6 or 7, and they will distribute mithaiya and sweets everywhere. Today we are starting Bismillah, and tomorrow is the Yameen, and then, but then this is what they think, that we are finished. We have done. He or she has read the Quran, and my duty, my farz is over. No, it's not over, because as soon as you see as a parent that a child is now thinking loudly or asking you question, please start the Quran again, start the translation again, explain it to them. I'm not saying that every child 11 or 12 years old would become a alima or a alim. No, but then the guidance is what is important, and that comes from the parents or the schools. So if you're not letting them go to the school, the parents are their school and parents are their guidance. So this is something which
essentially what you're saying is that in the society over there, even though it is a Muslim country, the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, the essence of the religion is not taught beyond rituals, and
yes.
And so a lot of people are uneducated about the meanings of their faith, or they've been kept away. And this is something that we've noticed too, that women are kept away from mosques in Pakistan. They're not allowed to attend mosques. There's no section to attend. So even if any of this is being talked about from in pulpits, they don't get access to that, even that. So this is something that so. And is there other are there other historical factors, regional
Of course,
influences
I mean,
that?
all this has is it's very cultural,
Mhm,
and it's also very global also.
mhm,
The violence against women is very global.
mhm,
It's just because of our culture and our lack of knowledge about our religion, we do such things,
mhm,
such crimes. And from in the subcontinent, in Bangladesh, in Sri Lanka, all these countries where there's poverty and where there's lack of education, no religion teaches us, to do things which are
fine.
as heinous and as bad, um, may it be any religion.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, apart from the religion and education, the the implementation of the law is also very important. The
I did want
punishment for the perpetrator is also very
So I
important.
did want to talk about the legal aspects of this. What is the punishment of an acid attack in Pakistan? What sort of laws are already in the books that pertain to this specific violence
All
crime?
right. Now let me tell something very important. It's not that every woman is being burned by acid or kerosene oil.
Mhm.
It is uh, uh, violence, a domestic violence as such, and women are 51% of the population of Pakistan, and
Mhm.
unfortunately, because of lack of education and not giving them right knowledge
Mhm.
of the religion, also has brought us to a point where such heinous crimes are taking place. But in Pakistan, we have laws about, laws for trees, laws for animals. So we have laws for women also.
Mhm.
But the it says that justice delayed is justice denied,
Mhm.
because women are not aware of the particular law which actually, pertaining to such kind of crime. If they do have the strength, and if they do, um, you know they go to the police station to report it, unfortunately, the person writing is a man.
Mhm.
The woman who has come, with her father or brother or whoever, is they're not aware of the fact that there is a particular law especially for such kind of crime. And it's so sad that if a woman says that, or whoever comes with this woman, they have to be there,
Mhm.
they have to go and report it themselves. So they say, you must have done something to deserve this.
To deserve
This
this.
is the kind of mentality, and this is such a patriarchal, and it's such a male dominated society. Unfortunately, it will
Well, I'll
take
tell you
us.
one thing. That police officers say that to rape victims in the United States as well. So just
So, yeah, so it is
it's
actually,
global.
yeah, it is global. So, um, when I say that it's cultural, when I say it is maybe in this part of the world only, there's so many other factors also apart from education. There's poverty, there's so much frustration, and then of course a man ego.
Mhm.
Now the time is right for women of Pakistan now, to start educating their boys also,
Mhm.
their men also. When these women who come to me, when I identify them, I give them free medical help and support. I do not charge them a single penny.
Mhm.
If they're from far flung areas where hospital facilities are bad, I bring them down to a better hospital facility, a medical facility. And then while they're being treated, what we normally do is that we start training them in some kind of skill.
Okay.
Now that skill will actually make her that will make her confident, and of course, no matter if she starts earning $100, for example, and if she takes that money to her house because she's burnt and she was a burden before, the family would say, oh, she, "Aye to sada putter hai."
Mm.
Yani, he's the son of
Exactly.
the family because she is now earning.
Mm.
So, like, this is the mental. It's not just they don't love them, it's just that they have so much on themselves that, it is they would rather leave that girl rot like a vegetable and not do anything about her, it's because that they don't have the means to do that. And if they do, they would rather spend that money on a boy who would earn something back for them. So for a woman who was burnt and who's looking a little better after maybe 20, 30, 40 surgeries, she's still a burden. But as soon as she starts earning a little amount, she actually now is taking care of herself. And if she earns a little better and she gives it to the family also says that, I mean, now that woman has a say in the matters of the family. So things do change as soon as women are empowered.
Empowered,
And
exactly.
that is very
And this
important.
is something that you just said that was it just touched a nerve, that even empathy can be a privilege. That when you are starving and when you have 8, 9 mouths to feed, then even having empathy for your own child can be a privilege that only comes when you have enough to take care of them. Subhanallah, that
Exactly.
is just, and that's when the responsibility of the larger society comes into play as well. This
So,
is
earlier when you were asking about the law,
mhm,
so in 2011, um, Deplex Smile Again Foundation and other organizations together made a lot of hue and cry about it, and there were
mhm,
certain amendments also made in the already existing law.
okay,
And those amendments have actually made a difference also. Um, the reporting has also become more
mhm,
as compared to earlier,
okay,
and media has also played a very pivotal role. So the law says that if a woman is burned by acid or kerosene oil, the perpetrator would get a lifetime imprisonment, which is 14 years. Now
mhm,
14 years is counted as like 7 day and night. So
okay,
that is nothing compared to the lifetime of a woman who
exactly,
has been, given such a punishment just for refusing or not bringing enough dowry or producing children, which is no fault of hers.
exactly.
But and a compensation of um, 10 lakhs, okay? Which of course the person who has done such crime is maybe not a very wealthy person.
Hmm.
So the punishment can increase, but unfortunately it's a bailable offense. So what
Okay.
happens is that if that person gets a bail, that person is out of bars. If he's put behind the bar, and let's suppose that the process of the courts and the hearings are still going on, eventually when he's given a punishment, all that time that he spent behind the bar would be counted in. So automatically his 7 years would become even less. But if
Mm.
he's, if he gets a bail, so he becomes a more violent person. He would go straight back to the family and say, either take this case back or compromise with me and I'll give you certain amount of money,
Mm.
or I will do the same with the other
Girls in the
female
family.
members of the family.
Yeah.
So it's a very sad situation because these families are weak. These are from very humble background, and they're very frightened and they're very embarrassed. Embarrassed because people are very unkind.
Mm.
Although it's not, maybe it's not her fault, but they would say she must have done something. She
Mm.
was not a good character. It's very easy for in our kind of a society to make a woman a very bad character woman,
Mm.
and then it goes on and on and on. So families actually they don't even speak about it. They would rather move from one place where they've been living for maybe last uh, 25 years to another city where people don't know them.
Wow.
And it's so sad that sometimes when I am giving they're getting treatments maybe in Lahore where I live, and this girl has come from a far flung area, and after the treatment, after one surgery, two surgeries, I would call the family and say, okay, you know, she's now feeling better, and her next appointment is maybe after 2-3 months. You can take her back, and they would say, no, no, Baji, please keep her with you. We can't afford her. Now, at any time, if you come to my place, visit me, you'll find 4 or 5 girls staying with me, and I try to take care of them, but I know that I cannot give them the luxuries, because when they do go back to their own villages and town, they will be unfit there. So I start uh, treating them, and I start teaching them ways of how to take care of themselves. They have to be self independent,
Mhm.
and it's, I mean, they are, like I said, they're from very humble background, maybe not so educated also, at times not at all educated.
Mhm.
So they're when I give them any kind of skill,
Mhm.
um, and I always ask them, what do you want to you know get the training on? They say beauty parlor, and I said,
Yeah.
okay, fine, I can give you a beautician's training. But the sad part is the attitude of the people around us,
Mm.
attitude of even the people who are educated. If these girls are working at Eplex in my salons, and you will be shocked and maybe surprised. It's a pleasure to actually see a burnt victim as my front desk manager.
Yeah.
And I mean, she takes care of herself. She comes, walks in. She's very, she's gone through a lot of surgeries. She's still
Mhm.
looking much better. But, she comes in, she applies the lipstick, and she does her eyebrows. And if she realizes that I'm watching her, she goes like, am I looking right? I said, yes, you're looking beautiful.
Beautiful.
That
Mashallah.
smile on their faces, that
And
beauty, that
that
it's
is
so
that that is that perception of beauty, the perfect features or the perfect skin, and that's what's perpetuated constantly and contributes to objectification of women. And
yeah,
yet, mashallah, with you putting them in charge of not only their own beauty and their own and other people's beauty, you're really putting like that artistic brush in their hands and changing the meaning of the word, where people are now forced to look at the person for their talent, for their charisma, for their character, and not look
exactly.
at this outer facade. Subhanallah, that
Yeah,
is.
I mean, amazing. I mean, for me, it is um, it is a day. My day begins with their faces, and my day ends with their faces. Like I said, they stay in my house. But for other people to realize that Allah Ta'ala has been so kind to them is also another very important factor.
Mhm.
And encouraging them, and to actually appreciating them, that they are doing something which normal human beings are doing, normal women are doing. Like if they're making, maybe helping a bride,
Mhm.
um, you can you can actually see, I feel it, that they must be thinking something like, will I ever be a bride? Will
Hmm.
I ever look that beautiful? No, but I can make her look beautiful.
Yeah.
And you'll be, it's really,
I wanted to ask
alhamdulillah.
you how many. I know that you have. Let's talk a little bit about this. What exactly does the foundation do? So it's called the Depilex, which is the name of your salon, Depilex Smile Again Foundation. What does the organization do?
Okay, yes. So what we do is, once we identify the girl, wherever she is in Pakistan, we start her medical treatment.
Okay.
And during the medical treatment, we start her training in any skill. Even if she wants to continue with her studies, we actually give her scholarship and admission in schools and colleges, etc. And I must mention here that 4 of my girls have become trained, qualified nurses, and they're working in good hospital in the burns ward only, because they give a lot of strength to the women who are already there suffering,
Suffering.
maybe, so it's a psychologically, it gives them a very good effect. One of my girl is actually doing her MPhil. One
Okay.
of my girl has become a lawyer. So many of my girls are actually beauticians, and so many of my girls are actually working from their houses also, because not all the family members allow them to work at their place, but it is mandatory for all my branches all over Pakistan to keep at least two acid victims or kerosene oil burnt victims or burnt victims in their salons if their families allow them.
So
Now,
you've
if
institutionalized it. So it's
yeah,
a
so it's like
policy. Mhm.
we have 76 branches all over Pakistan, so you can well imagine that there are about double this strength. And then also, some of the families don't allow them to work in salons
Okay.
because of whatever reason. So
Mhm.
I actually help them in opening up their own small businesses at home, in their rooms, just a small mirror, a chair, and a dressing table, which they have maybe. If not, then my trolley. So we arrange that also. Sometimes they're very good with sewing and embroidery and stitching, etc. So we provide them with good sewing machines. There are two, three girls
Mhm.
who've actually now at a stage where they've got industrial machine units, and they're not only employing their own sisters or brothers, but people from their vicinity also.
Mhm.
So, and they all call their businesses as Smile Industrial Home, Smile Beauty Parlor, and Masarrat Beauty Parlor. So
And
it's
that's
like,
what your name means that too, right? Masarat means happiness, smile.
yes, yes, it does. And and some of my girls are actually married also.
Okay.
22 of my girls.
And that's
And
important in Pakistani culture.
yes,
It might not appear to be of value to maybe Western culture, but this is extremely something that is seen as empowerment to be married in
yes,
Pakistan.
and like those 22 girls are not married to disabled or disfigured men. They're actually married to normal men.
Hmm.
Salute to all those boys and men who marry these girls.
Hmm.
There's a small incident which I must narrate. That there's a lady who was burnt by her in-laws 25 years back, 20 years back, and since then, she was never treated, but she survived and she lived. Her eyes were actually out of her sockets and she had a contracture. So my first, reaction was, when were you burnt? I mean, it seems it was only yesterday. And then she says 20 years back. So we started her treatment. So her neck was contracted and she was so, contracture was removed. She was so happy because she says, I can see the sky. I mean, it was like, मैं कहती हूँ Allah Ta'ala, we should be saying Shukr Alhamdulillah all the time. And then her eyes were also treated. She wears glasses. She doesn't have ears, so I have put black glasses along with elastic band. So she wears this, and then there was this proposal for her, and she said, you must come as my mother. And I said, okay. So I went there, and there was this gentleman in Gujranwala, elderly man. She's also 50 plus, and so I said, Shasab, do you know that it's not just her face but her body also? Why do you want to marry her? And he looked at me and he said, why do you want to take all the du'ai and khair from Allah? Why can't I take some? And I started crying because there are people around us, there are men here who are so, I mean, amazing. So
Real
she's
men.
now very happily married, and I mean, she lives in Gujranwala now. There are other cases also. They've got children now.
It's so
They take
wonderful
care
to
of.
hear these happy stories, because when there's such a horrific crime like that, and to achieve justice for them, sometimes justice just doesn't come in the perpetrators getting punished, but in the victories of the survivors.
Yes,
So
and these girls actually, I invite them in whatever gathering we have,
mhm,
so that when they sit with them, they tell them, they explain to them that don't worry, things are good. Because if I ask the families to send these girls for their psychological or psychiatric treatments, they don't allow them.
Mm.
They say, "Ji, jal gayi hai, sad gayi hai." She is not mad, She's so they say she doesn't have any mental problem. She is burnt. So so there's a lot of ways of calling them. I call
Mm.
them for picnics. I call them for let's go and watch a movie, or I call them to go and visit. If I'm in Karachi, take all the girls from Sindh area. Let's
Mm.
go to the sea. But I mean, the amazing thing is that these women are so resilient and they are so loving and so caring, so brave. I mean, if I ask them, I say, would you like to eat out somewhere? And say, where
Mm.
do you want to go? And one would say कि किसी होटल में लेके जाएंगे,
Mm.
हमें मैकडोनल्ड्स खिला दें. It's for
Oh.
them. McDonald or maybe KFC or a Pizza Hut is a treat.
Mm.
And they eat a little and they keep the rest of it in their purses because they want to take it home. Maybe show it to their neighbors or give it to their children.
Oh.
The small things matter to them. When they come, um, they maybe they're learning something. They finish early. I said, okay, let's sing. Oh, so they have beautiful voices. They say hum. They say nate. And once a year, I do keep a small um, gathering for them where we call an alma, or somebody who could teach them a little bit about religion also, because obviously they have children and they should be treating them and teaching them something better than how they were treated. And it's so sad because all the time they say, I did not do that bad that I should be punished like this. So, in their heart, they actually khafa from Allah Ta'ala.
Wow.
And
So
they have
you're making
complaints.
that connection back
Huh.
to God.
For them to
One.
bring it back to realizing it that Allah Ta'ala is happy with you. Allah
Mhm.
Ta'ala is there for you. That's why you are surviving. That's why you're giving strength to other women also.
Exactly. Now, one practical thing that I wanted to ask you about is the sale of acid in Pakistan. So this is something that if this was, you've shared that because of media awareness, attacks have gone down by 50% over the past couple of years, but actually having a practical ban on the sale of acid, how easy is it to buy acid in Pakistan?
See, what I've started doing now is that there is a law
Mhm.
where a person who sells the acid has to get a license, right?
Mhm.
So he has a license and he can sell it to anybody who walks in. He can sell a drum of acid also, and he can sell a small, neat bottle of, sulfuric acid or maybe nitric acid. Okay, that is only for $1 or maybe a little more than $1. So I'm working on a law which would actually differentiate between the use of commercial use of acid
Mhm.
and domestic assets, which are used for maybe drainage or for cleaning, etc. So I'm working, excuse me, on that. It is taking a long time, but it will happen. um, the the Justice Department is actually, they have we have produced all the papers, everything which they can think of. We have already written and given it to them. But because of our 18th amendments,
Mhm.
every law which has to be made first in the provinces, and
Okay.
then if it is it's an issue that big, it goes to the federal, which is
Mm.
the National Assembly. So provinces are working on it. Unfortunately, because of the instability of our political system, such laws which are maybe pertaining to women
Get
are
lost
not
in the
that,
shuffle.
yeah.
They get
So
lost.
they're not that important, but it will happen. It will happen. I am so 100% sure about it.
Yes, and people don't realize how dangerous. So imagine you can walk up to the corner store and buy a bottle for less than $1, and use it to
and
ruin
ruin somebody's life.
life. Exactly. So now I do want to ask, how can people help those who might have watched this? And we're going to show a documentary on your foundation. How can people help? How is the foundation supported? And I know we're sharing a link. Are some of these women zakat eligible? Yeah, I'd like you to
Okay,
possibly
they
answer.
are zakat eligible.
Mhm.
They are, and we have an account which has where we take donation, and we have a account. If you say that it is for zakat only, then of course it goes to the Muslims only. But the donations can go to because we are treating women from other ethnic,
Great.
ethnicities also, like they're Christians also, they're Hindus also, there are other, Parsis also.
Mhm.
So we treat them, but of course the donation is going to help them. Your khairat, your zakats, your sadqat would help them. If you want to, let's say, support a person, I would say don't do that, because one person's support is going to be years of treatment. And so give the donation or zakat, and let it be spread out between
Between
evenly between the most needy. If there is a young girl who's only 13 years old, if she's been raped and then thrown acid, there's so much that needs to be done for her. So if maybe she is our priority right now, but then there is another woman who's lost both her eyes, and
Mhm.
she needs, she can't learn anything. She can't, so she needs to be rehabilitated. So
Sure.
we can think of so many other ways. You can always, if you're a doctor, if you're coming to Pakistan to attend a wedding or to meet your family, please take out 3 days of your life, and let us
Oh my God.
take these women to you, and you operate them. Or if you're coming, please bring some medicines for them.
So since we're
If
winding down, let's show this documentary. I
Yeah.
do want to warn the audience that some of the scenes are quite graphic. They're triggering. So watch at your discretion.
But can I just say thank you to everyone?
Thank you so much for being here. Inshallah, next time I'm in Pakistan, I'd love to come visit. And
Please, everyone is welcome to come and meet these guys.
inshallah.
Inshallah.
Welcome to the world of Depilex Smile Again Foundation. Since 2003, we are helping acid and kerosene oil burn victims through medical treatment, psychosocial support, and training for their rehabilitation. Alongside, a regular advocacy campaign helps to raise awareness about this heinous crime. Acid and kerosene oil burning is a gender specific crime. Young girls and women between the ages of 14 to 25 are the common victims of this crime. Motives vary but are most frequently obsession, jealousy, suspected infidelity, refusal for marriage, female childbirths, demand for dowry, husband wanting to remarry, and non cooperation among families. More than 700 acid and kerosene oil burn women from all over Pakistan are registered with the foundation. They are treated without distinction of caste, creed, or religion. BSF has a humane approach, and therefore these are not numbers but human beings to be served with all required support till they are rehabilitated. BSF has enlisted selected hospitals across Pakistan for checkup, follow up, and surgeries of victims. Volunteer doctors from Britain, USA, France, and Italy also visit Pakistan on regular basis to perform reconstructive surgeries. In most cases, the treatment of burn victims is very lengthy, requiring 25 to 30 surgical operations over a period of time, and the total cost incurred on the process becomes quite substantial. The next phase of the path to recovery is the much needed psychosocial support. In addition to the inevitable psychological trauma, survivors also face social isolation. As such, psychotherapy is of vital importance. DSF engages the services of psychotherapists for healing sessions. Another aspect that DSF has always considered important is helping the patients with training and job placement. When women are supported and empowered, all of the society benefits. This is more so in the case of acid burn victims. While they are treated, they are also supported to complete their education and assisted to learn skills for economic sustainability. DSF has arranged training of many girls in beauty courses, tailoring, telecommunication, and business management. Some of them are employed in Depilex beauty clinics, the others run small parlors, tailoring shops, and utility stores. Many girls are also working in hospitals, banks, pharmaceuticals, telecommunications, restaurants, and shopping malls. DSF remains in touch with its family of patients and follows through till they are settled in the social mainstream. We happily share that 20 girls, after being fully treated, have been married, have become mothers, and are leading happy family lives. DSF arranged the ceremonies involving the media. In fact, the ceremonies were held in the studios of the participating TV channels, telecasting the events live. These events also serve as advocacy for the projection of the cause of women's rights, as well as build hope and confidence of the suffering families. Please join hands with Depilex Smile Again Foundation.